Hello and welcome back to the Pub Test Podcast. I'm your host Fletcher, and across the table is Tommy C on the mic.
Hello.
Happy to be here.
Always, mate. Always happy to chat footy.
Awesome round 12, wasn't it?
It was round 12, yeah.
Round 12. An absolute cracking round. Let's put it up on the Instagram socials. Check them out if you're on Instagram. Best round so far?
It'd be pretty close. It's always hard to judge, but in terms of like more shock factor, like I thought those two Sunday games were going to be dead. For both of them to be rippers like that was really surprising. And funnily enough, the worst game of the round was the first game, which a few weeks ago you would have said was penciling to be easily the best game of the round.
Yep, definitely.
So, but yeah, I'm glad we got the shit one out the way early on the Friday, and then the rest of the round was unreal.
We
were obviously live watching the Dogs Cats game, which wasn't a great one. We'll talk about that more in depth because they're going to feature our winners and losers. But that was a very good game of footy.
It was an entertaining game.
Good for neutral.
Riley posted on socials that it was skillful. There live, it wasn't so skillful, was it? I didn't think so.
It was more so how close the game was. It wasn't in 2 goals pretty much all day. It was
goal for goal.
Skillful at times. I'm not sure, as we'll talk about the Dogs, so I don't want to spill too much. The Dogs weren't as skillful going forward. But no, it was a great round of footy, Fletch. So
It was. We might as well jump straight into it. Winners and losers? Who have you got?
All right, so my winner, who did I have as a winner again? Jeeps, I've almost forgotten.
Gold Coast or Geelong, because I had the other.
Oh, I've Gold Coast.
Okay.
Yeah, wow. I mean, this TIO stadium has become a fortress. Fortress. Like Scott's Tots, mate, the fortress. They probably won't play any more games there in years, but they need to.
Yeah.
They need to play more than 2 games there.
Lock it down as Darwin as a sponsor.
Literally is going to be a real fortress for them.
They know how to play in the heat or something.
They do, and they really value that contest footy and the slippery conditions. It suits that to a T. So, fair play to them. They were very, very good.
I consistently bag Jack Lukosius.
Yeah, he turned up again. He's kicked 3 bags of 5 against
and a 4. Or is
sure.
it 4 and 2 5s?
One of the 2. But it against Geelong, Adelaide, and the Bulldogs.
Not bad.
3 decent football sides. So he's not a flat track bully.
Just doesn't turn up sometimes.
He's still not as consistent as we'd like, but it's definitely getting better from what we've seen.
Matty Rao putting in a shift. We talked about at the start of the year, just going
first half touches.
No, and then went in.
And then got stuck in. And he just does the little things that On the Couch always point out so well. That's why I love watching those shows On the Couch and First Crack, because they point out those things that you don't see firsthand.
Nah, they got the behind the goals footage.
And he just does those little things that we obviously, his big talking point is he's too contested, but he does those things. You'd love to play with him as a teammate because you just know what you're gonna get from him, and you know he's gonna do those little things well for you, and that's the ultimate teammate.
100%. I love I think David King said the other day, he sets standards and he's a superstar, which is not hard to come by. Like, he sets standards of chasing and tackling, and he's also the best player on the field. So that's incredible. We talked about at the start of the year, we need to get more outside ball. I think he's got like 15 to 20 touches. I want to see his skill a bit more on display. And now he's getting 20, 25, 30 some weeks. So being fantastic, and just can't wait to keep seeing his rise, eh?
Yeah, it's exciting. And it said with Touk Miller going out, we kind of thought they'd rule them out for the season, but they've kind of gone to another level.
Yeah.
And Anderson has... This is the first he's finally getting the props he deserves.
Yeah.
Obviously, because he fell behind round in terms of the draft, and Touk Miller's so good that it's kind of like he's gone under the radar his whole career, and he's on another level this year. But yeah, well,
once you start winning though, then you start get put on. Like, you got to win and get stats.
That's true. And he's playing for Gold Coast, a side has been mediocre for a long time. It's easy for him to go under the radar, but they're winning games of footy, and he's having a big impact. So
100%,
yeah,
loving him.
Fair play.
I'll take the Cats then. They were. You said they had no midfield, but that didn't really worry me when you said that last week. Their defense is still their defense, and they're just incredibly good at it. Their system and the way they work, it doesn't really matter who you have in there, as long as you have that back six. You've got a chance to win games of footy because they just suffocate you. to me, it felt like we were there, obviously, and it felt like the Dogs ran out of steam in the third and the fourth quarter. And I feel like the Cats system allowed them to get 3 and 4 to the contest every single time, and that allowed them to work for longer than the Dogs. The Dogs were better; their peaks were better, but they could not keep those peaks for long enough. Whereas the Cats, their system just holds that steady, and they don't have many troughs. They have a lot of just in the middle. And they were good. They were efficient going forward. Dogs were definitely not efficient going forward. And yeah, the Cats, once they get their midfield back, they'll be back in the top 4, I think, or a top 4 team. I don't think they'll make it to the top 4, but they'll be a top 4 team in terms of contending for the premiership.
We've seen this story before, Fletch.
Yeah.
We've seen this story before, and it scares the living shit out of me. Geelong, they just go about their business, mediocre until the buys. They time their run to perfection, and all of a sudden they're playing in a prelim final. Now, the issue for me is that I think they're too far behind to make top 4.
Yeah.
And now if any team's going to win from the bottom part of the 8, it's going to be Geelong.
Yep.
But with the fact that Port Adelaide and Brisbane looking like occupying the top 4, Geelong are going to have to play away from home in a semi-final. And that concerns me. To be fair, I think in any Geelong game against a Port Adelaide, or Brisbane maybe to a lesser extent, but Port Adelaide, Geelong wouldn't fear that. But that's a tough order. So
they don't fear anything. No. I don't think they fear
and nor
anything.
should they. They're that bloody good. Nor should they. But the issue is
it's a long way outside.
Correct. And
once you're out of the 4, it's a long way to get back.
It is. And I know everyone talks about the Dogs. I think we need to see the Dogs as an anomaly. I don't think that can be seen as any team can do that. Because I don't think many teams.
But they openly admitted that the 2020 was the year they lost to Melbourne, wasn't it? 2020?
Yes.
No, 2021 they lost to Melbourne.
Is this Dogs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They openly admit that they were cooked by 3/4 time. Like that, Adam Trelaw talked about. He's like, we were stuffed. Like we just played on the road for so many days under COVID protocols and all that type of stuff. We were cooked. So you've got to be in the top 4 to win, I think, to give yourself the best chance.
I agree. And said Geelong, they're an older side. I know they're blooding these younger kids, but the reality is they're an older side. These guys like your Duncans, Dangers that will come back for finals. They'll be back. It's a tough order to get themselves cherry ripe, fit, and then have to travel for 2-3 weeks in finals. Now, every chance they play at the G all 4 games. But with the
not really, actually.
But there's a slight chance. But you're right. I think you're pretty confident that they'll play at least Port Adelaide or Brisbane in a final away.
There's probably going to be 4 sides in the 8 outside of the interstate.
Yeah. So they're going to have to travel, for me, at least 2 of the 4 weeks.
At least 2, yeah.
And that's a lot for an older side to do. But if any side's going to do it, it's Geelong. So
you're not wrong.
It is scary that they might be timing their run, but I think they're going to struggle to. Then I don't think they're going to make top 4, and their draw is too hard. They're going to have to win. The good thing is there are a lot of 8-point games, so if they win those, all of a sudden maybe they can push. But they're already 4 games behind Port.
They need results to go the right way for them
Correct.
to make the 8. Like it's not just them winning.
I think their draws too. They're not going to get enough easy wins, in my opinion. But
yeah,
they're peaking, and Jeremy Cameron returned to form. So yeah, they were very good. But
those half forwards too were very good, pushing up the field, creating pressure, and then getting back. They were very good. All right, move on to the Dogs then. They're bad. Kicking is shocking at the moment, or not at the moment. It's been for the last couple of weeks.
Dreadful, and we know how good Stewart is. Made Nevitt look unreal. Colin Chasney, as I said, Stewart. I think a stat that sums up the Dogs right now, I was telling you when I just rocked up, I saw it on the couch. Brian Myers and Bailey Smith have had the same amount of kicks inside 50. I'm not sure whether it's over 6 weeks, but 40 kicks each. Myers going at 50% finding a target. Bailey Smith going at 2% for the same amount of kicks.
Yep.
Now, I understand that Bailey Smith is that run and gun type player, but that can't be happening. For one of your better players, that can't be happening. And
when
if
you get 30 touches a game.
I don't think there's enough being said about that. You're right, especially 30 touches a game, you're right. If he's having 8 inside 50s, but all 8 of them are going...
Yeah, to intercept marks, then it's all being rebounds.
And also another stat that, I'm not sure if you heard, Aaron Norton's taken 28 marks inside 50 this year, 17 contested, 11 uncontested. That cannot be happening.
No, I think it was stale on Saturday night, and it's been stale for most of the year. Like, they don't move. They all sit there. I'd bag Joe for this. They all point on the defender's head. Put it on the defender's head. Move for the forward. Move. You can't just sit there and say, put it on my defender's head. You'll mark that once or twice out of 20. Once or twice a game out of 20 opportunities. It's not efficient enough. You look at... Geelong never took a contested mark but yet they're always open because they're always moving. So, yeah, totally agree with that. I think they had plus 18 inside 50s last week, and they had plus 4 inside 50s. So, 22 more inside 50s over the weekend, over the last 2 weeks. And they've barely scored. They've only cracked like 130 points total.
They won almost every stat for the game.
Yeah.
And they lost that game footy. Like that, yeah. I know Geelong, you know, pedigree Geelong, but that's a game that the Dogs need to be winning to stake their case as a contender. And it's seemingly the last few years it's been the case of 1 step forward, 2 steps back kind of thing.
Yep.
That you think they've gone on a run here, they're making inroads, and then they suffer a loss that just shouldn't be happening. They seemingly fail the big challenges too often.
They give them, but the most as a Dogs supporter, they do everything right in terms of contests and moving the ball, or not really moving the ball, but contests and I don't know, like giving themselves opportunities. It's not like they're getting smashed in disposals, getting smashed in everything else. They're putting in the work to win the ball and then move it forward down the field because they're getting plenty of uncontested and contested ball.
It's a last kick.
It's a last kick. It's like you just shoot yourself in the foot time and time again, and we know how important intercept marks are. And
Tim English bailed them out too often. Like
yep.
all of a sudden,
he was very good.
And Tim English doesn't do what he did. That looks even worse.
Yep.
So he took a lot of contested marks and great for our super coaches, super outsides. But it's concerning because I said there's no way. I don't care how good a key forward that you are. You shouldn't be having more contested and uncontested marks. That's a sign of bad ball use.
100%.
It should be 17 uncontested marks to 10 contested. That's what it should be for Norton. He shouldn't be relied upon to have to take a mark over 2 or 3 blokes every time.
The Cats' defense is very smart, and I was watching them roll off and peel before the kicker even kicked the ball, going straight to knowing where the drop zone is, like going straight to the pack of players. And I was watching James O'Donnell. I know he's a very young player, not a known player, so he's not much respect given towards him. But he would just stand in the pocket and be like, "I'm free, I'm open." And this happened time and time again to different players. And before they even kick the ball, it was the last couple of steps. Geelong's going for they know where the ball's going. They're going to that contest because they know it's going. So,
yep.
you got to be a little bit unpredictable. I was at the game when Geelong played Richmond. Richmond kicked it to every spot that you shouldn't. They would kick it 45 from the wing. They'll kick it to the 45 out, straight in front of goals, which is an absolute no-no because if the ball turns over, it's the easiest way to get down to the other end of the ground. Mm-hmm. But that's where the Geelong players weren't because they play for the predictability. So you've got to play off the line with Geelong, and the Dogs definitely didn't do that whatsoever. And they rely on, as you said, contested marks and snap goals, which is
it's not sustainable.
So they've definitely got some issues to fix up. Mm-hmm. Tommy, a team that you want to talk about as a loser.
Yeah, Adelaide. So we try and avoid the same, like doing a winners and losers from the same game. But I think Adelaide for me was the biggest loser of the round. Now I'm big on them. I'm probably bigger than you are on them. We talked about last week. I think a couple of weeks ago they were a top four in terms of like the way how well they're going, how well their game's going. This has become a trend, Fletch. Losing on the road. Now, David King had a really good point that we probably expect too much of sides on the road. Like you can't expect sides from every game on the road, but that's 2 bad away games in a row. So the Dogs one was a bad performance. I know the Dogs are a good side.
No, it was terrible.
But that was like
the scoreboard flattered in. That should have been 100-odd point.
And I don't care if you're playing on the bloody moon, Fletch. 35 points up against the side outside the top 8. You should be winning that game of footy. I don't care. I don't care where you're playing. I don't care if you're playing a Beale Reserve.
Yeah,
you should win that game of footy.
100%.
So,
and they did this against GWS earlier in the year. So there's been a few 30-point losses already.
So it's concerning, and we know how good their home form is, but they're not going to. If they make finals, have to make finals first. They're going to have to play a final away. If they want to make any indentation in this final series, they're playing away from home. That's a fact. So it's concerning. And Isaac Rankin, they got into his head.
Yeah,
they got into his head. He failed. Well, there's been a few tests, from players playing their old clubs. Horn Francis passed.
Very good.
Who else? There's one escaping my head. Taranto was good. But he failed miserably. So they got to his head, and there was a perfect example of they got stuck into him, but didn't derail their game.
Just when it's needed.
Yeah, just when it's needed. And it got into, he had 2 effective kicks to the game, Rankin. So that's I know he's not a high position player, 250 kicks is not enough from the X Factor player.
No, normally it's 10 kicks, 10 score involvements type
Correct.
thing.
So, yeah, I'm a little worried. For me, the big test now, they're playing the Eagles at home this week, so whatever.
Got to be pumped.
But the big litmus test for me is round 15, they play Collingwood at the G. Now, they're not expected to win that game of footy, but they have to keep the inside 6 goals. It has to be competitive. They're not expected to win, so it's not like if they lose this game, I can't play on the road. They cannot afford to get blown out against the Pies because it would just be another, they can't play away.
True. I feel like, the Dogs you'd say they got up for, but Gold Coast you might have gone, they just had a mulligan. But it's been consecutive weeks
Mulligans
almost.
is, for one bad shot, they've had 2 in a row.
Yeah.
So it's, it's concerning, Fletch. So I'm not jumping off, but for me, I hope they don't put in a good performance because obviously I go for Collingwood. But that round 15 game will be telling for me.
They're a next year team, though, aren't they?
They're a next year team, and they'll get a Redmond. That Jonas would never go because it's cross town. But if they got a Mackay or a Redmond, that'd be sex.
Tom Duda out. That's a big one.
That's massive, man. We already talked about the defence is probably their weakest link, and now they're losing. Well, he was predicted to be their captain. He didn't get picked in the end, but he was predicted to be their captain. He's been amazing he's been an amazing find for him. So concerning. And
he's out of contract this year.
Yeah.
Do they give him another one, or does he go somewhere else? I don't know.
I don't think he goes somewhere else anymore because of the injury. But it was touch and go whether he stayed or not, because I think everyone tipped him to be the captain. So the fact he wasn't, maybe he gets a bit annoyed about it. Who knows?
I also did hear that I didn't hear on another podcast, the tradies, they talked about him knowing his worth. So he waited to the end of the year trying to cash in as much. He knows the business of footy.
You said a lot in the AFL, in the NBA. They bet on themselves.
So I think he's a bit of that. He knows what's going on. He's not just looking for this amount of money or that. He's looking for a specific number and amount of years, and he was trying to cash in and try and get to that. So
it's always risky to do that.
Yeah.
It's unfortunately backfired. But,
that puts me out to this time next year minimum, and they really say it's a 2-year recovery in terms of getting yourself back into it, like fully back to where you are. So really, it's not going to be to finals next year. He's going to be looking really good.
Back to his best. So I think it only heightens the need for Redmond or Mackay now.
Yeah,
it only makes that even greater. So now I thought I was a betting man, which obviously I am a little bit of a punter. They're going to get one of them. That's the fact now. They have to. Like I just don't think they can go to the next level without them. But that's a story for the end of the year. But I'm not writing the Crows off, but that's seriously concerning performance. And with the likes of the Suns kind of making a bit of a charge, and the Dons look like a final side, and obviously the Cats will play finals, their spot in the 8 is not as guaranteed as I probably thought it was a couple of weeks ago.
No spot is unfortunately guaranteed in the 8.
No.
I don't know, but the Crows, I'm not sure. We'll have to see. Wait and see in a couple of weeks' time. Some talking points for this round. We'll start with the big one, the heavy hitter.
Can we start with the GOAT?
No, the gone.
The gone, yes, for 3 weeks as of about 10 minutes ago.
He's gone for 3 weeks. I'd love to get your point of view.
Yeah.
One about the West Coast, what they
tweeted
or whatever. Yeah. And then what do you think? We'll start off with the Jordan situation, actually.
Okay.
What do you think he was worth? And maybe you're going to reference another incident that we may have a debate about.
I've been thinking about this because obviously I'm a Collingwood man, and I know DeGoey's a very polarising figure. So kind of in that work, I was kind of, I was pretty bored. I was like, I'm going to think something what to say here. So obviously, I want to make it on the record. He deserved weeks. I'm not going to try and defend what he did. That he went past the footy, hit in the head, deserved the 3 weeks he got. Now, some people, as I said, he deserves more. I love Kane Corns, but I wholeheartedly disagree with his thing about saying it's sickening and a dog shot. No, it's not it's not a dog shot. It was a bad split second decision. It wasn't a dog shot, no. So like when Brownie and Buckley were saying, no, it's just that's footy. It's just quick, and it's a quick game, but deserved the 3 weeks in my opinion. Now, I'd planned before I saw the Tom Stewart incident. I planned on referencing how Pickett only got 2 weeks for what I thought is the exact same action. Now, people might disagree. I thought what Pickett did to Smith is very, very similar to what DeGoey did to Hewitt. Now, it is probably a dangerous game referencing a round 1 incident because I think the AFL's come a long way, even from round 1 to round 12.
not good to say.
But for me, the only difference was Spaz got back up. But I'm happy with 3 weeks. As a Pies man, I was hoping he missed as few as possible. So I think 3 I'm happy with. But yeah, I honestly thought he'd get 4. So that's why I'm content with a 3. But yeah, I don't like. There's been so much hysteria about it, and I think that's because his name's Jordan DeGoey.
Probably he's the word Kane Corns use are very hard hitting words in terms of like weak dog and stuff like that. He does that a lot, and I feel like that's just a media thing. So I can't just brush it off.
Yeah,
I think personally, I thought 3 was that's a guilty plea. Would just give it to you, and I thought 4 was probably where it's about. When you talk about the Pickett incident, Pickett's just under. Pickett got lucky. He got 2, didn't he? He just got lucky. Let's be honest here. He got lucky that Baz didn't get concussed because that should, for me, that Pickett action looks worse. How he's spearing.
They both. The guy got his fell off the ground, but he launched it.
It was a missile. I reckon. I know I'm a doggy sport.
You can make a case that it was.
I think the action was worse. The action was worse, 100%.
I think there was more intent in this Pickett one.
100%, because he could have tackled because the ball was still there. I know the ball for Dugo is gone, so you shouldn't be bumping, but it's like you can't tackle them otherwise it's free kick. So at least you can put some body pressure on him.
Yeah.
Whereas Baz could have got tackled because the ball was there. So it's kind of like you chose to bump over tackle.
Yeah.
Whereas the other one, you chose to just put some body pressure on, jumped. Got it wrong. I don't think the elbow came out
No, it didn't.
The Stewart one last year, but yeah, 3 weeks is a pretty good result for Goey. Unfortunately, it probably means he's going down my Supercoach team.
Oh yeah, true. He has to go for you then. Yeah, bugger. He's been good for you. So
month out.
He's missing
can't
4
take the
weeks.
scores.
He's missing 3 weeks. He has to go. Oh, for 4 weeks basically. Yeah,
with the bye, because the bye doesn't count, so he has to win 3 and then the bye.
Yeah, correct. So, I think for me it's the right decision. And it's setting a precedent. You knock someone out, you get weeks. So I can't.
I hate that though. Hate that. Just action, because Baz's chin is stronger than the other ones.
I think we agree on this. I think Marcus fixed and he disagrees. I think we don't base on the action enough. I think that it's based on how to have a glass straw or not, in my opinion.
100%.
So
it's hard to gauge impact though, because like you could say, as we said, Baz has a stronger chin, but it's like, well, I don't know. I think it's just too weighted towards the concussion. I don't mind it being concussion based.
It's basically if you knock him out, it's a guaranteed 3 weeks.
Yeah, which is fine, but also if the action is really bad, it should be guaranteed 3 weeks.
So yeah, look, I think the match review panel is very polarising.
Yeah.
So I think we both agree it's not based on the action enough, but 3 weeks for me is the right decision in my opinion. But I'm also a very biased Collingwood supporter. So
3 weeks is a little bit light. I think 4.
You reckon 4? Okay.
I think 4. 5 it seems too long, but 4.
What did Broad get for his sling?
4.
So DeGoey's was not worse than Broad's. Broad's was a violent sling tackle.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's hard to compare a sling tackle to a bump.
It's different.
I don't think Broad should be getting less than DeGoey. So I'm happy with 3, but I also would not have been upset with 4 either.
Yeah, it's a 3 to 4 range.
Yep.
All right. Kangaroos played a fantastic game, goal for goal with Essendon. I was hoping for them to get their first win, but their second or third win. But the Simkin went out early. Then Levi Greenwood, Hugh Greenwood went out, and Cullington's not playing. That's about all the midfielders I know from him, or experienced midfielders. So Wardlaw, Sheezer went in the middle for most of the fourth quarter. There was a few other players. I forgot them for the moment. Sorry about that. And they took it to a Zach Merritt. Took it to a Jake Stringer. They took it to lots of players, the whole Essendon side. And Wardlaw looked very good. I am excited for him.
That is some performance. Like this, I missed the first half, so I knew it second half. Kane Corn said it. His 17 possessions felt like 40. That last quarter was incredible to watch. Just the way he's that one-handed. I won't forget that one-handed pickup in defensive 50 at full speed. Knowing if he fumbles that, Don's probably get a really deep inside 50 look. Like that, for a third gamer to be even attempting that is
confidence
scary.
Is oozing.
If it wasn't for Aaron Hall, who looks washed, by the way. Aaron Hall fumbling it, that looks even better. But he's a big gun.
His attack on the footy literally beat anyone to the ball. Literally, he was 3 or 4 steps back from any Essendon player and would still beat them to the ball. I was it genuinely, I was sitting there in the couch going, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like I was genuinely saying that to myself, saying, crap, this guy is very good. 3 or 4 steps back from someone and then pops out of nowhere. He seems to be able to bend down very quick and stay at full speed and then control his body to pick up the ball and do something good with it. I am excited to see this kid keep playing. I genuinely might turn on North Melbourne just to watch him. Him and She's all around the contest was so clean. And we always seen him half back, get 30 touches and be very good with the ball. But in traffic, was a little bit panicky, but not massively. Always made the right decision. And those two, if you're a North fan, if you can put the right people around him, like Paul Curtis and Zerha and all them, can go along with them. These two are going to take your footy clubs
It's
places.
giving you a reason to watch them for the back
100%.
half. They've been competitive the last few weeks, and that's all you asked for, but they're giving you a reason to watch them. And North have been unwatchable. But you're right, you want to watch for Wardlaw. For a third game to be doing that, attack on the footy is immense. So, I was willing them over the line. You want them to win a game. They deserve to win a game.
It was a goal for goal. It was like, and that's the other thing. In the fourth quarter, those Shees and Wardlaw, the moment Eston kicked goal, Shees and Wardlaw got it out of the centre and got their team opportunity to get a goal. Multiple times they did that straight away, immediately responded. That's a little bit of leadership. That's a little bit of almost a 50 or 100 gamer just pulling their side over the line. But they're only 3 gamers and 10 gamers. So they got 2 rippers there.
Yep.
Nick Blakey, 7-year deal. 7-year deal. I'm not a fan of the long deals, but they gave him a 7-year deal. He's a good player.
Yeah, it's obviously it's a reference to Kane a lot. Kane Corns is big against the long-term deal. But he's been very good this year. He's taken the leap this year. So I get it. Young player. He won't be on stupid money either.
No.
That's what makes me like. No. If it was 7 years at a mill, you're like, oh shit, here we go. But then Sydney very tight lips. We're speculating whether it's 600, 700, whatever. But he's been good. He's proven that while he's obviously going to be used primarily as a running half back, he's shown he can play tall if he's asked to.
Yeah, definitely.
So his versatility has been on show this year. So, yep, I like it. 7 years is a lot. So I wonder why. I've always wondered, why do young players sign such long-term deals? I know security has to be a thing. But for a player like, let's say, Nick Dacos, why would you sign a 7-year deal now when you could be a Brownlow medalist but in 3 years' time and all of a sudden you want more money? I don't get that. Know. I know security's a thing, but when you know you're an AFL player and you're a good one, I guess it has to be a security thing. But why would Dacos sign a 7-year deal, let's say, at 600? Obviously, he's worth more than that. When he could win 2 Brownlows in the next 4 years and all of a sudden he's worth 1.2.
Yeah, we could say the worst thing he did was sign that 2-year extension straight away, Nick Dacos, because he can't show this form and get paid for it, if that makes sense. He's already signed the extension before he even played.
Yeah.
So he already had a 4-year contract before he even played a game. Now, that's good, but then he's become almost a Brownlow Mervet favourite and could be getting a lot more. The only interesting thing, I know once you get 10 years or 8 years into the system, you can then become an unrestricted free agent. So before then, you can't be. You're always a restricted free agent. So maybe that gets you to the unrestricted zone, and then you can kind of do what you want. I don't know, while guaranteeing that you're going to get to there with the contract. So I don't know. Maybe it's
a safety thing. You could see he cop 3 ACLs the next 7 years. He's still getting paid. So
100%.
Look, I don't blame Sydney. He's a very good player. We know he's good. We're not hoping he goes another level. You're not like shit. He has to go another level here. He's already a very, very good footballer.
100%. I'm not a big fan of the long deals, but at the same time, I do wish that my club did it a bit more too. At the same time,
I think 5 would have been better, but can't blame Sydney. Very good footballer.
And 5 got a 1-year deal. I thought that was pretty interesting.
2, wasn't it?
Was it 2?
2.
I thought it was
2. 2 years.
Oh, I thought it was just for next year.
2 years. That's the issue.
Okay,
I think 1 year's all right. 2 years is not.
See, he's not someone that you want to lose because not because of his game more than anything. It's more because you don't want to lose him because of the fabric that he's just embedded in the culture. Mm-hmm. That losing something like that can be just a massive hit, not because of how good they are, but just because the culture they bring and who they are around that in a business environment. You don't want to lose experienced people. People have been there for a long time because they just hit the culture basically. Mm-hmm. And I think this is kind of a re-signing, but hopefully it's not on too much money. can't be on what he used to be.
No, and I think the issue, obviously, his body can't get right.
So I'm a bit worried he won't be able to last 2 years.
I'd love it for one. I don't like it for two. I think they were scared because I think he had a lot of rival interest. So I think
Which I can't believe. I cannot
to
believe.
be fair, if you can get him on a cheaper deal, he could be a very impactful player. 2 years is a lot to expect from a player that hasn't played. And look, you can't guarantee how many games you're going to play the next 2 years. You just can't guarantee you're going to play 19 games per season for the next 2 seasons. You just can't.
See, if you're talking about Dust in this situation, same injuries but looking at the same contract type thing, I'd say yes, it's a good contract because he can go down and play forward.
Mm.
We've seen Fife try as a forward and he's not a forward. So I'm worried that even if you, as a rival club you go seek him out, he just can't be a stoppage beast. But that's his one wood, and he's not the forward of a Dustin Martin that can roll down and terrorise it.
I think he's useful to a team. I think he's useful to a...
Not to a team, just where he's useful.
Well, I think some teams need that type of player.
As in inside mid?
Yep.
Do you think his body can hold up for an inside mid?
He doesn't have to...
15 games.
If he goes to a contender, he doesn't have to play the whole season. So if he goes to, let's say, if you look here, Geelong already old, Geelong, and Adelaide, they need him.
Yeah, but how many games are you genuinely thinking he gets through? 10,
I think
10 at inside mid?
I think you could nurse him through half the season, similar to what Geelong,
so 11
Geelong
games?
have done. I think you'd be asking for more than 15, including finals, would be a lot. But I think if you got a contender got him on a cheaper deal, I think it's worth it for one. Two's a lot, especially for Freo. That now it's hard to say because obviously the midfield on paper looks good, but we've seen that they struggled getting the contested footy that the ground ball gets before their run started here. But I don't hate it, but 2 years is a lot. I like them re-signing him, but I think it should be one because he could play less than 10 games for these next 2 years. He easily could play no more games.
He's on track to play 10 games for the next 2 years. That's what he's on track for. Yeah, interesting. He can't play as a forward. He's only inside mid. All right, that's the talking points of the week, pretty much. Power rankings. I'm going to do a little list here. It's going to be really short, top four.
And I'm going to say if I agree or disagree at the end. So you got to read them
pretty
out.
Much, yeah.
I won't argue them yet until you read them all out.
So Melbourne at 4, Lions at 3, Port at 2, and Collingwood at 1. Pretty obvious Collingwood 1, if you have an argument with
that. So
that.
you went Collingwood 1, Port 2, Melbourne 3.
No, Lions 3.
Okay.
Melbourne 4. I did cross out Melbourne at 3 and then put Melbourne at 4 and Lions at 3.
I think the top 3 are hard to argue. I'd probably have Brisbane ahead of Melbourne. Brisbane ahead of Port, sorry.
Really?
Yep, I think so. They played one this game, but I think Brisbane are better than Port Adelaide, and you know how much I love my Power, the pair, but I think Brisbane are better than them right now. And Melbourne, I would have said Adelaide before the last few weeks. Bulldogs would have been a chance.
You would have put Adelaide over Melbourne.
Melbourne's last 3 games have been bad.
Yeah,
they lost. They lost to the Dockers. They were bad against Carlton. They lost the week before, I think. Did they lose the week before? I think so. So I'm not saying I would have done it. I would have considered it, but not anymore. So yeah, I think Melbourne go 4th by default.
By default.
There's no one else. They lost the Port. They lost the Port.
Yeah, but
Freo. And they didn't deserve to be Carlton. Both those sides were shit. They should have both been losers for the week. No, I think I agree with that. But I think the Port, I keep saying Port. The Melbourne 4 is by default. I don't think there's another. I think the top 4 is so spread out from the rest now.
I think they're timing it better than Port and Lions. I think they're going to wait. Not they're going to wait. I think they're just working out the kinks in their game plan.
You can make that case.
Give them last 4 rounds. Give them the last month. Yeah. I reckon they'll be.
And last year they were 10-0 and they choked. So you're right. They could be timing their run, but based on the last month of footy, I don't think they're the 4th best side. But you're right. There's no one else at the moment. So I think they're the 4th by default. David King had Freo at 4.
Yeah, I'm not know where he's got that from.
I'm not sure I'm willing to that just yet. So
especially if I start looking at the whole season, you look at the start of the season, and you go, "Holy shit!"
But I would have done Collingwood 1, Brisbane 2, Port 3, Melbourne 4. That's what I would have done. So, I
Well,
think at the right 4.
at the Gabba maybe. We did some whoever had the buy, we did some reviews on their season so far.
Letter grades.
Some letter grades and some little 1-minute statements.
Mm-hmm.
This week we got 2 teams. Just 2 teams, which
Nice
is...
and easy.
Why is there 2 teams just having a buy?
Yeah, it's weird. They used to do this back when they had to go to China. That is not a piss take.
I know.
They go.
I was more laughing at the fact
Yeah.
that they played in China.
Yeah, they played in is it Shanghai? But that's weird. They've only got 2 teams this week. It makes no sense. But so who do you want to take?
Oh, we'll do 1 each.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Who do you want to take?
I'll take the Cats.
Okay, I'll go Suns.
Do you want to go first?
Oh yeah, right. I'll go first.
Alright.
I probably should have prepared something here. We talked about the Suns a bit already, so we're going to keep this pretty short and sweet. But Gold Coast, playing good footy, and they're now 6-6. I think my one concern is they've done this last few years where they've just been all right. That's been decent. Like they haven't disgraced themselves, but they haven't really pushed for finals all that much. But we talked about it before. They're young stars, Raul, Anderson, Lukosius. Ballard is right now on your Australian team, in my opinion. They're standing up, and that's the most exciting thing for me. I guess my one question to you, Fletch, is at what point are we expecting the Suns to make finals? I feel like every year we're
Not this year.
they're not going to make this year, but every year we're like what's a pass mark to seemingly is always 10, 11 wins. At what point are we expecting him to get to 13 wins?
Well, I don't know. Let's be frank about it. My only thing about this season, you've named 5 players. Add Took in there, you got 6. Mm-hmm. Apart from that, that is the only players that I...
Wits.
Sorry, and Wits.
Yeah.
And Ben King.
Yep.
Apart from that, I've got question marks on every other player on the list.
Every other player.
Just about. Is Chol going to stand up? Levi Casbolt, where's he at?
Casboult's been a nice servant. Chol has gone backwards this year.
Lockie Weller, I like him, but the ACL hasn't helped, obviously. Yeah. Darcy McPherson, he's been in the side all this year. Lockie Plough, Will Plough,
yeah.
All those type of names. Where are they at? And are they going to take the step to the next level? Because it's fine that they've got 6 or 7 good players, and a few of them could be superstars in a little while. I feel like they're just going to get dragged down with all these other players that aren't any good, to be honest with you. Just decent players that play at their contract, probably not play above it, and you need some players that play above their contract. So I'm giving them for a season so far C+.
Yeah, I would have said the same thing.
It's a little bit... I didn't expect them to be even and looking at finals, to be honest with you, but they've had some good wins and they've had some poor losses, so I don't know really where to judge them.
You're right, it is hard to track because their start season wasn't great.
No.
So last few weeks have been really good. So yeah, I would have said C+ as well. And I had a look at... We won't run through it because it can be pretty hard for the listeners to listen to us say Carlton win, Hawthorn loss, whatever. They got a lot of games playing sides around them. So they play Carlton twice. They play the Giants. They play Sydney. Like they've got games against North and Hawthorn. So there's 2 wins, you'd think, but
they lose those ones and they beat the Dogs and they beat Geelong and they beat Adelaide and then they go lose to a Hawthorn or a North. I was like, well, how do you judge that? So
that they're going to be surprise packet that they could win. They could win another 7 or 8 games, but they could also win 2 or 3. So I'm at a loss. I don't know what they're going to do, but they're starting to play more consistent footy.
Yeah.
So, I would have said a C+ as well.
I think we'll find out a bit more about him in the second half of the year because it's always been this at the start. Get to the bye and be even kill.
They've always kind of faded.
And then post-bye, it's, holy shit, we are shit out
They've always kind of faded. Yeah, you're right.
So I think we'll learn a bit more about them in the second half of the year. The Cats, I'll talk about the Cats. Not struggled with injuries, but have struggled with injuries throughout the year. Yeah. Jeremy Cameron looks very good. Tom Morgan's never struggled with injury. They're gaining players, but then losing players at the same time, and then blooding new players. So they're in a very interesting state, in my opinion, with Tanner Bruin or Ollie Henry coming to the side, But then you have that Irish guy playing his first game and never playing his first handful of games this year. They're blooding, but then playing still older players. They got their back six fit and firing, which is the best part of their game, as we talked about earlier in this podcast. So I'm really excited by them. I'm going to go with a letter grade of a B-. Considering they've managed injuries, I know they, as a premiers from last year, should be probably more wins, but I'm going to give them the injuries and maybe a slow start and a few mulligans, and I'm going to say a B-, especially that I reckon the back half of the year was strong, so I don't want to give them too low a grade.
This is really hard because based on the ladder position, it's less than a C.
Yeah.
But they've been hit by injuries pretty hard. So I'm probably going to lean towards the C- just because coming to this year, I thought it was Geelong by how much? And look, I already said Riley's were screaming at the phone saying, "We've got bloody injuries, Tommy, seriously." But
they didn't wake up the first 3 rounds.
They weren't great when they had the players.
Yeah.
And to be fair, Geelong tend to start a bit slow anyway, so maybe we have to factor that in. But I'm going to go based their ladder position, C- for me. But we said it before. We've seen this story before, and I'm petrified of it. So they're going to fly home. They've got a very hard run.
They do.
So they're going to have to like the next 2 weeks. They've got the bye this week, obviously. Port and Melbourne coming up next 2 weeks.
But that batch 6, you just know what you're going to get every single game, which is just solid and a force to get through. It takes so much to get through. So,
and Chris Scott's obviously one of the better coaches. They find ways to win. They had no right to beat the Dogs on.
Well,
Saturday.
they had it right. They were
with the
a
way
lot more classy.
Yes,
a lot more classy.
The way the midfield discrepancy for me was so large that I couldn't see a way Geelong would win that game. So, pardon me. But yeah, for me, C-, but they're going to make a run, and I'm scared.
And I think they're almost making the run as the same as Jeremy Cameron. He's been a bit off for the last moment.
Last month, he's dropped off.
He started really well, then dropped off. But now he's warming, and I think you'll watch him come into his own. And he'll start kicking bags of 4 and 5 and being that dominant player like he was the first 3 or 4 rounds, and like he was the back half of the year, which is fucking frustrating, to be honest with you. Tips?
Let's do it. Tips
for the week. Starts off with
Thursday night game. Nice, it's back.
But it's at SCG, so it's always a bitch to watch.
Yeah, it's always gross to watch night games.
I hate it.
I hate it.
Swans, St Kilda.
Swans.
I'm going with the upset here.
SCG.
I know, but this Rampy I think's back too, actually. This is going to be the upset of the round.
Really?
St Kilda's going to get it done.
Okay.
Max King, watch out.
Okay.
Max King, watch out. I think a bag of 5. Minimum. Maybe 6.
Put that in your bet slips.
Yeah. Friday night, tasty one. My Dogs, Port. Come on.
Do you have 0 faith in your side? I'm
serious?
I'm Port.
You're serious, huh? You being serious?
I actually am.
I don't have much faith, I will admit that, but come on.
Port have been a ride at Etihad on Marvel. So, yeah, for me, Port, but this is going to go down to the wire. This will be close, man.
I think it's going to be a good around the ground. You'll just watch one team kick goals and the other team not.
Okay.
Pretty simple.
For me, Port, but it's going to be very close.
The only thing the Dogs do well is isolate a Lear. They did it very well in the prelim.
They need to, because we've talked about in this podcast, Port Adelaide do not do well one-on-one.
No.
They do not.
Yeah. That's the only thing about Port Adelaide obviously being my power ranking number 2. I think coach's going to wait till finals and they're going to then isolate a Lear one-on-one.
They have to, yeah.
That's probably the only weakness of them. Anyway, get back to the tipping. Saturday, kick the dew off the ground with Hawthorn and Brisbane.
Ew.
At the MCG. That's a big game, footy.
No, Brisbane. By fair bit.
Brisbane. Adelaide, West Coast.
Snooze fest.
I was going to say, why are you taking so long here?
Adelaide.
Richmond, Fremantle.
At
Freo.
At Optus. That's a good game for you.
Yeah, this could be another upset, but I'm going to go with Freo.
Freo want to be the real deal. They're going to win this game.
Oh, it's a long weekend this weekend, I just realised. North Melbourne, why do they have a Thursday night and a Monday? Why didn't they have a Thursday last week and have a Monday this week?
Yeah, man, that's weird. Anyway.
Sunday, North Melbourne, GWS.
literally about 5 people will attend this game of footy. Although North looking all right. So it's the... actually, could this be the one?
The Giants have got the money heavily on their side.
Gee, North Melbourne? Nah. Giants to win.
Look,
What's the line, man? Because I might have a bit of a punt. What are the odds?
it's 250 North to 150 GWS.
Line will be about 4 goals.
Yeah. Which I reckon North has got.
North Melbourne?
I'm going to say North Melbourne will win.
They're due. Pencil them in.
And then a Sunday late 7:15, Carlton Essendon. I wouldn't mind going to this. Just
Can we actually go?
Yeah, I was thinking about it.
I'm trying to go. I mean, yeah. I was going to say something, but I'm not going to anymore. I'm going to keep Tim Carlton until they win.
You're going to say Carlton?
Yep.
I'm going to say Essendon.
I'm going to keep tipping Carlton until they eventually win a game.
Essendon's a better side. Oh, sorry, Carlton's on paper the better side.
A better side.
But Essendon I trust more. It's weird to say. Monday, a beautiful game.
King's
really good call.
birthday.
King's birthday. A really good cause to go along.
It is.
And
buy your beanies.
Buying your beanies.
I bought my beanie first. You buy your beanie?
No.
you get up at 5:30 for work. You need a beanie, man. You need to keep that sexy head warm.
I'll just give the money straight to him instead of...
Hey, that's fine too, man.
Yeah. Okay. Melbourne, Collingwood. Clayton Oliver in.
To go out.
Collingwood's always got the wood over Melbourne in this game.
Yeah.
For some reason.
I think it's Collingwood, but I'll probably do the old win-win factor. Probably a little bit of a dabble on Melbourne, just in case that.
It's only $2, so there's not much value in it.
Little multi. Yeah, Collingwood, but yeah, don't be surprised.
No, Collingwood's got the wood over Melbourne.
Yeah, but Clayton Oliver's a big in. To go is about a big out.
Yeah.
So
hasn't finished top 5 in a round though.
He's been pretty bloody good this year though. He's top 5 in the round though right now. For me,
he won't finish in the top 5 again.
No, this is his only chance he's gonna get. Collingwood for me, but it's all about the slide. Doesn't matter who wins.
It's all about the slide.
Yep.
Who's going on the slide?
Don't know.
That
doesn't bother me either. I got my beanie.
I think the only person I know is Mick Fanning.
And Eric Banner's going. I don't even know who Eric Banner is, but
he's an actor, isn't he?
Yeah. He's a St Kilda number 1 ticket or some shit. Yeah.
Only one there.
Only one there. Yeah.
Supercoach?
Yeah, why not?
First week of the buys. Mm-hmm. How did you go?
Always hard to tell what a good week in the Supercoach. But in the buys, because some have 18 players. Obviously only best 18, but some have 21, some have 18. I scraped 18 players. So I was very happy with my 1872. Which we talked about last week, but I went up another couple hundred spots. And if you were to tell me over the 2 weeks I wouldn't have Clayton Oliver, I'd go up 800 spots, I would have bitten your hand off. Because I can't complain too much because I knew what I signed up for by keeping Oliver. But we kind of thought a pass mark, for these next 2 weeks, we're just holding my rank. So to go up, I was really happy. And looks like he's back this week. Didn't train today apparently, but the coach at the press conference said guaranteed. Yeah. So I'm hoping it's just precaution. Yeah, I think that's the way my side's going. We got this week is an issue. This doesn't count as a buy round, to be perfectly honest. There's only Tom Stewart and Bailey Humphrey, only 2 players people will be missing. Maybe Jared Witts. But for me, I'll be making no trades this week. I've got 12 trades left, 3 upgrades. Oh, the big W for me has to be Kieran Briggs. I think much of you brought him in.
Yeah, I did.
Which I had zero interest in him, Fletch, before Thursday. I had zero interest. I saw 246k third choice ruck because he was the third choice coming into the season. Bruce and Flynn were both ahead of him. So I just got FOMO. I brought him in because I had big FOMO. I was like, I can't miss out on him. And at 138, he duly delivered. So unfortunately, that was his one and only game he's going to be on my field because the next 2 weeks, Marshall and English will be my rucks, and then Briggs will be making way for Darcy Cameron in round 15. But I was 128, so not 138. But that was a big dub, and that Briggs to Cameron is going to cost me like 70k. So absolutely stoked with that one. Fletcher, how did you go, my brother?
I didn't have a good week.
Didn't?
No, I didn't. Samson Mitchell pulled out late, so that dropped me down to 17.
Seamus,
sorry. Not Samson.
Samson Ryan.
Yeah. And then I was like Friday night doing my trades, did 2 trades. Mm-hmm. And then I had the last one. I was like, I couldn't figure out who to get in for Mitchell. So I was like, I'll just do it tomorrow. I'll just think of it. I'll keep thinking I'll do it tomorrow. I was watching the pre-game, getting some lunch ready to eat, watch the Hawks play. And then I went, oh shit, I forgot to do the trade. So then the game started. I didn't have the trade in. So
What were you gonna do?
that's why I didn't do the trade. Don't fucking know.
See, I brought in a first gamer in that McDonald guy for Hawthorn just to get 18 because I had 17 players. Plus, that allowed me to get Wardlaw in. So I just did it. He probably won't play next week because he was the guy who came in for Mitchell. But I just did it to get 18. But yeah.
I didn't end up doing anything, so I'm a bit annoyed with that. And then to go ahead and absolute stinker, so that didn't help.
Did you have a stinker?
55
super
Supercoach points. So unfortunately, to go with we always talked his suspension.
Mm-hmm.
He's out, or he's going to go in my side. I've only got 13 trades left, so I'm going to be finding it hard to finish my side. I've got still a fair few to get out, but I got cash. I got heaps of cash.
Oh dear.
That's the problem. I've got two. I'm not going to be able to spend all my cash. Basically, I'm going to have rookies left on my field, and they're going to keep making money, which is kind of annoying. But I got heaps of players. I got Tom Mitchell playing. Tom Mitchell and Humphreys. The only ones out. So
you gonna bring in someone for the goal? You gonna bring in someone who had the bye last week? So a Neil potentially.
Yeah, probably Neil.
Neil.
There wouldn't be much price difference between them two.
Neil's like 570 or something.
To go is 538.
Let me have a look.
537.
Lucky Neil Supercoach. Hang on, give me a second, and I'll find it for you. 577.
Only 40k, and I've got 80k in the bank.
That is an easy one to do, Fletch.
Yeah, so I'll probably be doing that, and I don't know what else I'll be doing, but I've got do I go with Humphreys? I don't know.
For me, I think that's more. For me, you could keep the likes of Humphrey because he's going to be so useful in round 15. That's the whole reason I bought him in a week earlier than a lot of people. A lot of people were put off by that 213k price. I did it purely for the round 15. So I think that usually a lot of people try and aim to have their team finished for that last buy round. They go bang, bang, bang to finish their team. I'll be a week later because all my rookie money invested is in Weddle, Humphrey, Mitchell, who all have the buy coming up, and they'll play in that 15. So my plan will be have my team done in 17. But for me, Humphrey, he's too good to get rid of. He's basically 3 tons in a row.
Yeah,
and he plays 15. I think that's gold. So I think you cash him in 16, in my opinion. But you do you, my friend. Even
like Wardlaw, Briggs, they're all making money. That Eddie Ford, is doing really well, making me money. So I've got probably 3 or 4 rookies at 250 to 300k, which I've got to turn them into primos.
So you'll turn them into primos. So yeah. So you should get pretty close to finishing your team. The only thing is you just can't afford many injuries.
I can't afford.
So you have the money to finish team. It's more so
the trades.
You have the trades.
Yeah.
So I'm the same. That I've got 12 trades left, but 3 upgrades to go. That's not including Sheasel. I'd ideally like to get rid of Sheasel, but I'm going to count him right now. So I've got enough trades to get it done, but it might leave me 4 or 5 for injuries, and that's a bit scary.
Yeah.
So, and obviously I want Sheasel ideally gone as well. But
yeah,
I think these likes of Briggs, Humphrey, Weddle have kind of saved us. Money looked like a disaster. It's kind of bittersweet for me because for us, you held Clayton Oliver as well.
Yeah.
Before these guys made the money they did, it would have been impossible to get Clayton Oliver back in.
Yeah.
Now it's seemingly a little bit more possible. I still think it's too hard. I still think you're not going to be able to finish a team while paying $650k for someone.
But it's possible now.
It looked impossible when we made the deal. I'm so happy with the decision we made. I think it's considering Laird only scored. I did the maths that over 2 weeks, Laird scored 229. The guy that came on for Oliver for me over the 2 weeks scored 119. So I lost 100 points. So I'm content with losing 100 points. Just my mental health of owning Oliver. I said last week, Fletch, I can't watch another D's game without Oliver. We've owned him for 3 or 4 years straight. I don't think I could watch Monday and Oliver score 150 in the Melbourne win and not own him.
Yeah.
So, it's a bittersweet, these rookies. But, yeah, good luck getting Oliver back in and finishing a team, everyone else, because you're going to find it pretty tough, in my opinion anyway.
It's been a tough year of Supercoach. It's been a tough year of trading in, training out. You cannot trade in, training out.
I've enjoyed it because it's been hard. It's been very hard.
Yeah.
It's separated the boys from the men. And it's been good, though. Our group have really invested this year. We talk about it all the time, but I've just loved that we've got usually just me and Riley and Marcus start. Dan, and then me, Riley, Marcus, Dan. Dan and Marcus kind of drop off. Riley and I keep playing right through.
Yeah.
To have you like yourself, Andy, Corey, even Luke Odon's playing. Like, it's unreal that the buy-in from the lads. And a lot of good, like, Andy's still ranked like 3 or 4K.
They're doing very well.
By the way, those following Manus' journey, he dropped to 900.
Oh,
But
not bad.
still very good. But round 15 is the bad bye round. He doesn't have Bont, Rosie, Tom Green, Canelio. They're all.
Does he have Zach Butters?
No, does not.
So,
but
very good.
They're in everyone's side.
Yeah.
He doesn't have them, so he's guaranteed to go up that round. It's just he's hoping that takes him from 900 to 100,
and then just sit there.
So, but yeah, we'll keep following old Marnus' journey. We need to get him back on the podcast, I think.
Yeah.
Coming up. So, but yeah, anything else we had to cover, Fletch?
Nah, that's it. Just a little teaser for next week. We're gonna probably. I don't know if we're gonna do a separate podcast or tag it on the end of the footy one, but we're gonna do halfway all Australians. We're gonna do the forwards and backs, and then another podcast we're gonna do mids and interchange, and then probably captains in that. But yeah, just be wary for that. And if you're interested in that type of stuff, we're just going to list them out. It's going to be a quick one.
Yeah, courtesy of Daniel Hooper. Daniel,
yep.
he suggested it to us to do this. So I think if we did a separate one, I think we'd do it all in one go.
You reckon?
I think so. I think if we were to tack it onto the footy one, I think we'd do it. We'd split it up. But just with NBA, next week probably our last NBA one for a while. So I think it should. Or she might not wrap up by next week. Hopefully it's not wrapped up by next week. Better be soon.
Yeah, we touch and go.
So we'll see. We don't want to make the too big because we're going to have we're going to spend like an hour doing our Australian teams at the end of the year. So we want it to be like a quick little one where we just have our rolling All-Australian. They do it the rolling All-Australian side. But that'll be good fun to do. So we'll figure that out whether we do it.
We got to figure out because otherwise you say a lot of names and it can get a bit confusing.
It's hard to follow. So that's all to figure out the best way to present that to you listeners. But yeah.
That's about it. Round 12.
Bring on 13, eh? Go
Bring
Pies.
on 13. Go Pies. Jokes. See ya. Check out the socials. Hope you enjoyed the episode.
Tell a friend. Tell a stranger.
Yep. Love it. See you, boys.
See you later.